welcome to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I am Robert Gatewood, your host. And thank you for tuning in. We are tuning in. We have people tuning in from all over the world. We are Marketing Pulpit International. That's right. We get them from everywhere, from the continent of Africa, from the United States, from Canada, from Mexico. We've got them listening from all over the place. And we'd like to welcome you, of course, the people in the base where we're in Washington, D.C., right outside the nation's capital in Largo, Maryland. I'd like to welcome in North Carolina, the people out in Texas, the people down in Florida, wherever you may be. Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. I do this every Friday at 10:30 a.m. I bring you the good marketing gospel. That's right. My dad was a preacher. So I tell you that preaching, man, once that bug bites you, it's hard to let it go. I tell you what, I'm having a week, quite a week this week. I've been, for anybody who didn't know, I'm an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College. Been doing it for about 25 years. And I had 2 classes this week. Now, the adjunct that I do, these are business development, continuing education units. It's not like the regular kids that go, going to trying to get college credits. These are like business owners, and they're like CEUs. They're continuing education. I'm part of this BOSS program, which is Business Owner Success Series. So these are adults, and they're trying to make their businesses better. So I'm trying to start businesses. But the thing about it, we plan these classes like sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6 months in advance. And so when you plan something 6 months in advance, you're like, hey, man, I ain't got to worry about that. Man, the world might be over by then. Who knows? And then you look up. You sit there doing, you already got up to here at work. And all of a sudden you look on your calendar, these notices pop up. Hey, you have a class to teach on Monday at Prince George's Community College. Oh, my goodness. And then the day after that, Thursday, you have another class to teach at Prince George's Community College. I'm not complaining. It's just that sometimes when you plan things way out and you kind of fill your schedule up and these things pop up on your schedule, you got to take care of them. But anyway, that's why my week was so taxing. But when I say taxing, I'm not talking from a negative standpoint. I'm talking about it's just full. I have a full schedule. And I had a great class last night, talked to a wonderful class of people, just great students. They were engaging. I mean, Alicia, Caroline, Cinquetta, Makita, Gloria, Raka, Tunde, Latoya, Tremaine, great people, and they were engaged and had a great class. And on Monday, I also had a class. We talked about social media strategies. But last night we talked about networking. And so if I look a little baggy under that, I'll tell you something about the networking class. When you do these classes, you don't really go back and create a new class every time you teach. You just dust off the old stuff. You might change a few things, something make it more contextual or up with the times. Well, the last time I did this networking class, it was pre-pandemic. And so if I had taught the same class back then that I was going to teach last night, I'd have been really teaching like basically super spreader 101, because everything was all about shaking hands and getting close to people and chumming it up. So I had to really make quite a few changes to that particular class. I had to contextualize, of course, pandemic friendly. And so I had to throw in the virtual aspect. So my point is, folks, you got to stay relevant. You got to keep up with your business, your classes. Just keep yourself on top of things. Yeah, it's going to make you lose a couple of hours of sleep. It's going to cause you a little bit of anxiety. That's okay. That's what I do. That's what I do, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I do. I'd like to welcome the folks tuning in from all over the world. See Brother Richard Miles. He's from the Minor Football League, and want to say hello to him and what the great things they're doing at the Minor Football League over there. Mr. Miles and the whole crew over there. Great crew of people. Thank you again, Mr. Miles, for tuning in. He has a show comes on every Wednesday at 5 o'clock, where I'm sometimes the co-host. Been a little busy lately. And also on Friday this afternoon, they're going to be doing a post. MFL on Facebook, you find that show. And also, good morning, Brother Brown, the greatest plumber in the land. Thank you again for tuning in this morning. And I was telling a story about my Prince George's Community College experience. And I'm going to tell you why I'm talking about that, because it is so rich with content and context. I remember when I was just getting going in my marketing business. I was over in Oxford Hill, And one of my students came in one day. He said, "Mr. Gatewood, I notice a lot of folks come to talk to you and they don't have the funds, but they still need this information. What you gonna do about it?" And I like put on the spot. I felt like a big grubby capitalist. Like, and I'm saying to myself, I'm not just doing this for the money. I'm trying to help people. But it didn't make me think. And so what I did, I called over to the college and said, "Look, I have this class I want to teach. I think people need marketing. Folks that need it the most are the ones who can't afford it. You say that you're charging people thousands of bucks for marketing, and if you're a small business owner just getting started or you're struggling, you don't have $1,000 to give Robert Gatewood. You're like, man, I got bills to pay. Now they don't realize that this is an investment, but you're talking to a small business owner who just they're not that deep about. They're not looking that far down the road. They're trying to get through the week. So I talked to the folks at the college, and we worked it out. So I started doing it called marketing strategies for the day and tomorrow. Matter of fact, it was started in 1898. I know that before some of you guys weren't even born yet. Yeah, I'm that old. And so been doing that ever since. Been doing that ever since. But let me tie this all together. So I'm doing the course at the college, and it's amazing though. This story is also about the how dynamic and impactful women can be, and I think that's poignant and very. It's a good idea to talk about this during Women's History Month. How the impact that strong, insightful, visionary women can have on your life. So first of all, it was the employee who told me I need to go over to the college and start teaching the course because people that need the course might not be able to, that might need marketing, might not be able to afford it. So that was one brave young woman. Then I get to the college and start teaching. I mean, I'm teaching to beat the band. I'm doing this every week, not every week, but doing the when I put it on my schedule. And one day when I was teaching one of my courses, a group of young ladies in the back of the classroom, it's supposed to be talking about you, and you walk in the room, they get quiet. What happened on that particular day? They were just talking it up back. What y'all talking about? I feel like y'all talking about me. I was joking and realized they actually weren't. They said, "Mr. Gatewood, you know what? This information you're dispensing is so impactful. It needs a larger audience. You need to tell this to the world," because they were giving these examples of how their businesses had been impacted. Because many of the people that I teach over there, they come and take every class. They'll find me. Like last night, the class that I took, most of the folks in that class had already taken the class on Monday. So anyway, they were saying these classes have impacted my business, and I know this because they tell success stories. They said you need to put this in front of a larger audience, and I said, I did one of those Arsenio Hall moments, things that make you go. So anyway, they said maybe radio or something like that, so that more people can get this information because it's so necessary. So anyway, I called over to Radio One. We started talking about it, and next thing you know, Radio One and I came to an agreement, and that is how the Marketing Pulpit Show got its start. Through students, through employees, through staff. And it's amazing how you follow those cookie crumbs, how we always think that these influencers, these great folks that lead the way for us, that we are emulating. But folks, let me tell you, success can be a ground roots effort. I mean, the people you work around, the people you employ, the people you're teaching. And so I thought it was very poignant that last night, how this whole thing had gone through a full circle. Another really interesting point, something that I've been wondering to myself lately, but last night I started wondering aloud. Everybody in the class was female. There was not a dude in the entire class on both nights. What's up, fellas? I mean, I can't figure it out. I'm just gonna tell you. I pondered it, and it's been kind of a pattern since I've been teaching. But last night was like it was too obvious. I mean, every person in the class was a female. Is it that the guys already know this information? Is it they think they know it? Is it the women are just have it going on nowadays? They're the leaders of tomorrow, and they know that they need the tools and the information it takes to prepare themselves for the future. Well, maybe I'm going to need some help on that one because I'm stumped. I'm going to keep working on it. I don't There's nothing in my literature that says women only. There's nothing that says dudes need not apply. And we know the numbers right now are really the leading about every financial category. Women are really highest number of doctorates and MBAs and business owners, and particularly Black women are doing extremely well. And that was the primary demographic in my class last night. So that's just a Robert Gatewood kind of used to think to himself, but now starting to wonder out loud, what do I have to do to make this information more appealing to men, to brothers, who also need this valuable information, and were also suffering, not only during this pandemic, but economically through some of the same systemic issues that everybody face, particularly in our community, why we can't get a better response out of the brothers. Anyway, I'll save that fight for another day. Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. I'm here every Friday, 10:30 a.m., bringing you the good marketing gospel. I talked about, we're going to talk about later in the show, we're going to talk about networking. Networking is one of those secret sauces of marketing that is sorely underrated. I'm going to tell you a story that's going to blow your mind on how networking is, without fear of contradiction, networking has had more impact on my business trajectory than any other medium. Networking. And that was the topic, matter of fact, that I talked about last night. Talked about networking works. So we're going to talk about that after the break. I'm also going to give you a couple of quick tips if I have time. If not, we'll do it next week on social media strategies, which was another topic I talked about this week, and how you can put social media to work. Now, I'm Robert Gatewood. I'm your host for today. I'm also, besides being an adjunct professor, I'm president and CEO of Gatewood Marketing and Web. Also have written a couple of books, one called Played in Full, The Marketing Exploitation of Black America. I also have another book called Smarter Than the Boss. I also do work for the Small Business Administration as a subcontractor, help companies in the 8A program. And let's see, what else do I do? I've been a busy guy. And we've been very busy helping companies navigate this pandemic, putting people online with courses and their products, and helping them their distribution channels and marketing channels through web presence. And so we've been very busy doing that. We've helped a couple of companies launch their online courses this month. One was a CPA firm, one was a therapist. Another guy is a security expert out in Chicago. We've been working with him for almost a year now. So if you have a course, you're trying to get that information out there, because that's going to become a very good passive stream of income. Because many of you folks walk around with some great knowledge in your heads. You need to get it out there and start charging folks. I mean, think about you in the bed sleeping at night, and you have a course out there online. Some of these self-study courses. Take some of those same PowerPoints that you've been presenting to clients and other people. You take that information, share it with me. We can take that and create a course out of it. And so people can go in there and take that, pop in 30, 40, 50, couple $100, whatever you want. And you're there sleeping in the bed, and you're getting paid for that knowledge that you have honed over all these years. So that's something that you have very successful in doing this year, more so than in the past. And I think that has been spawned by the pandemic. We're going to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to talk about a couple of items in the news. I'm going to jump into this topic of networking, how networking works, and how it can actually change the course of business and your life. I'm going to tell you what, it has definitely done it for me. I just can't say enough about networking. So hang on there. We'll be right back in a minute.
Rayford Lee Brown Sr. I am the owner and founder of B&B Cleaning Services, LLC. We are a janitorial, floor cleaning, and property maintenance business.
All right. Welcome back. This is the Market TV show. I'm Robert Gay, your host. I want to quickly about my sponsor, BLE Executive Suites. They have been so supportive of this show, and they have a service that our community really, really needs and appreciates. They provide office space, affordable office space service, and business services. So you can, if let's say if you need a place to train, need a business address, they have that's like $55 a month. Need an answering service, and during this pandemic, many companies that have been they downsized and they're using BLE as like satellite offices and as a supplement to their home office. And so it has really worked out for me. I have my studio at BLE, and I have my office at home, but sometimes you need to work out a hybrid of I'm working from home, but I'm also working from the office. And they're flexible like that. So you need to call them at 301-322-1700 or go to blesuites.com. Just mention the marketing pulpit. Tell them Gatewood sent you, and they'll give you a free month of service on just about any of the services that they offer. So call BLE Suites. Great folks, Miss Bernadette Clay, Langston and Eddie, and Chell and Juana, and just Jasmine. Just great group of people over there at BLE Executive Suites. Quickly talking a couple of news items. That COVID relief bill passed. President Joe Biden is turning the cartwheel. He has had his first legislative victory, and it's a whopper. That's a big bill. That's a lot of money, folks. So many folks are going to start getting checks this weekend. They're saying by tomorrow, checks going to start popping up in your account. So be checking those online banking accounts and watching those $1,400 checks come in. If you're making less than $75,000 a year, or couples making less than $150,000, you may have a little early Christmas treat this week. Now, some of the other things that happened during this bill, they're going to extend the $300 a week jobless package. They're giving the top child tax credit for 1 year, vaccine manufacturing, rent assistance, $300 billion for state, local, and tribal governments, K through 12 schools, subsidies for health insurance coverage. And now, did that include the minimum wage hike? Biden said, man, look, we'll have to fight that another day. Let's get this bill out here so we get some money in people's pockets. And that's a good thing. I think you have to pick your battles, not just in politics, but in life. So I want to say congratulations to President Biden and his staff and Vice President Kamala Harris. Great job. People need this because many Americans are still unemployed. Even though the cases of COVID are dropping and people are starting to open up quietly, businesses are not going to rebound right away. First of all, you gotta ramp this thing up slowly. You can't go back to pre-COVID overnight. People aren't coming back into the restaurants immediately. People still aren't flying like they used to. They still aren't checking in the hotels. So that's had an impact. Trickle down effect. So so many people are struggling with unemployment during the pandemic. And the pandemic is not over. People are getting vaccinations. Good thing, thank goodness for that. President Biden also said by May 1st, every adult American should be able to get vaccinated if they want to. And I do encourage people to go ahead and get that vaccination because this pandemic has disproportionately affected our community and caused quite a few deaths. And I know I sound like a broken record. I keep saying this, but my good friend Patrick Ellis, he was a direct casualty of COVID-19, and I'm still kind of ticked off. I think Patrick should still be here, and I think if he had better leadership and better information, I think we still have some people in our community that we've lost, I think unnecessarily. I want to say also good morning to Attorney Bradley Thomas. He's swell guy. Just a leader. I love to see people in our community who step up to the plate. They're not complainers. They just get out there and do it. I've seen him doing so much work doing the voter registration and getting his daughter, his family, wife, so forth. Just great people. Thank you again for tuning in and being a follower of the show. Let me continue with the news. The workers who are happiest I'm telling you this story. It's not a self-serving story. I just call it like I see it. But they say the happiest workers right now, according to LinkedIn's latest workforce confidence index, are business development specialists. Do I look happy to you? I mean, I may not look happy. I mean, I may be a contradiction right now because I'm still kind of reeling from this long week of teaching at the college and had a very busy work load. I mentioned last week we were going to stop taking new clients about midway through February. And of course, nobody listened to that. I think when I made that announcement, the phones rang more than ever. I don't know if it's because people want something they can't have or whatever happened. But anyway, I've been working very hard in 2021. I thought it would be it was a side somewhat going from 2020 to 2021, but it really it's escalated. And so, but according to LinkedIn's Workforce Confidence Index, people in my field, we are the happiest workers right now. But I think it has something to do with how fulfilling your work can be. Now, you have to admit, though, when you're putting together a strategy, a plan that's going to make somebody, help them create generational wealth, pull them out of their economic despair, create job opportunities for the community, put people to work, build its economic foundation, recycle wealth in the community. And it is something to be happy about, I must say. So LinkedIn, I'll be your poster among the specialists who are among the, according to your workforce confidence index. Now, on the downside, some of the people who are not happy are people that work for people like me. I'm going to change that. But people who are executive assistants, help desk specialists, they are least likely to find joy in their work. I don't know if I like that. Well, I tell you what, if you're listening out there, D'Angelo, Trees, anybody else who works for me, we're going to make sure that the happiness, the joy that I experience is going to trickle down. And I'm going to do that by giving you good working conditions, good pay, and I invite all of my other fellow business owners to do the same. Let's not just be happy up top and have our workers down there giving a side, because that's going to come back to bite you. You want those folks that are interacting with the public, you want them to be happy, so they could make or break it. And that's no joke. Amazon is getting into the food business a lot heavier. They're like, well, Whole Foods is one thing. We want to go all in. So now they're coming up with their own food chain. I guess you go to. Now they're going to be experimenting with the cashless checkout and the self-serve model, and so of course they're going to be innovative. They're not just going to have a grocery store as usual, but they have decided that there's money. They say there's gold in their hills. So they're going to, plus they're still this restaurant, food industry, grocery stores, supermarkets, it is being revolutionized before our eyes. Because in case you had noticed, quietly, these dollar stores have gone, I mean, they're like full serve food place now. You got fresh food and fresh produce and milk and eggs. You used to just go in there and get you a can of old peas and some gift wrapping paper. Well, that's changed. You go to these dollar stores now, man, they got everything you want in a regular store. And so Amazon saw that. They probably like, cheap food, dollar. And then, of course, anything they can do is stick it to Walmart. They're going to do it. So that's that little battle that Walmart, that's what that's about, really. That's a little hate going on. They're hating on Walmart. They see Walmart is probably the biggest rival. So that's what we'll do. We're going to jump in on this food bandwagon and stick it to them that way. So anyway, that's what's going on with Amazon. Let's see what else is going on. I thought this was an interesting story. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this syndrome. It's called Imposter Syndrome. If you are, let's say you're working in a job and you're surrounded by all these folks, some of them been there for a while, some got advanced degrees, some are sticking their chest out and they always rubbing it in your face. And so you can develop what is called an imposter syndrome, where you feel like you're not up to the task. You feel inadequate. You question your credentials, your ability to do the job, and you're always second guessing yourself. That's what's called the imposter syndrome. And after they've done more research on it, Harvard University Business Review said this is more pronounced among women and people of color, minorities, Black folks. And think about it. I think we've all, including myself, we've had that. When you're sitting around a table with a bunch of white men, and they're standing there, with their check took out, and some of them doesn't have half the credentials you have, less degree, less experience, but they're not suffering from this. You're sitting there with a advanced degree, an MBA behind your name, a doctor, a PhD, and you're sitting there kind of afraid to speak up, scared you're going to answer right, scared the boss is going to look at you unfavorably. That's imposter syndrome. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, because I think we as a community of people, business owners, we have to support each other, one, and we have to instill confidence in our young people at an early age. I think we can subvert this, or at least mitigate it to an extent by keep encouraging our young people. Make them feel worthy. Let them know that they have just every bit as right to be where they are and get the accolades and grades and the pay and the jobs they get than anybody else. As a matter of fact, they've had to endure more and overcome more hurdles. This is where we can have an impact. Don't just let this sit out there, because I've seen it. I've experienced it. I know when I came out of college, I admit I kind of got the early jump. I became a buyer at the age of 22. And you're talking about, I was so young, I didn't even know what imposter syndrome was. I just thought that's what I was supposed to be. I didn't know I was like 10 years ahead of most people in my age bracket. But as you get up there and you're out there for a while, they just start eating away at you. I mean, the comments, the looks, the little snide remarks, certain things you're not getting invited to. Next thing you know, they chipped away till you start having this syndrome too. It also brings up another issue, and I'm like this that saying, if you're a hammer, every problem is a nail. Go out here and start your own business. Tell you what, I have no imposter syndrome now, Jack. I say I deserve everything I have and more. And if you don't have a problem, if you have a problem with it, and I wasn't gonna say something. I mean, that's your problem. That's your problem. So let's get out here and start these companies and take control of our own destiny. And if you have a job, I'm not saying you have to have a job to get rid of this syndrome. I'm just saying that one way. But if you own a job and you're starting to feel that, join a support group, meet people who are having some of the same issues. Go out here and go to some of these meetups, and you'll be surprised how pervasive this particular problem is. Say good morning to Brother Charles Rory. Welcome, people all from down south. Thank you for joining in this morning. And anybody else, if I miss your name, because sometimes I see, I think on some of the platforms, we don't get your message over here, but you can see it where you are. So I'm not ignoring you. If I don't know your name, I'm just going to say hello to everybody who's tuning in. And thank you again for your comments. And if you do speak, we will acknowledge you if you come up on the screen, but we don't get all of the messages. And sometimes I'll go back after the show and respond to people who responded during the show. I couldn't see your message. I'm going to take another quick break. When I come back, I want you to, if you are a business, and that's a large proportion of our audience. We have a lot of business owners tuning into this show, and rightly so. We are a business development show. Makes sense, right? And also tell you I'm an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College, and I've been had a busy week. Had 2 courses this week. And they wore me out. These things are 6:30 at night, and they're 3 hours long. Man, let me see. I've had coffee going through an IV today. Matter of fact, I got my cup here, doing my little branding thing, and this is coffee now. This is not the hard stuff. See that brand, boy? I'm a branding somebody. So you got the MPL cup, got it back in your mind. And my background. So I believe in branding. And I've done several shows on branding. We got to brand them a pen. My pen, my brand has my logo on it. I talked about this on the day I talk about doing these courses at the college and how you should be branding all the time. Branding is going to help. Here's a quick tip before I go to break. Did you know that you can charge more for your products and services if you have a strong brand? And I know that works on me. If I see a company that's out there all the time, I figure, shoot, they must be okay since they've been out here this long and everybody else is using them. I'm going to go ahead and pay that extra penny instead of paying this, getting this lower price from this company I never heard of before. You can actually charge more for your product by branding, by having a strong brand. That is a fact. And that's when I decided to stop trying to lowball these companies out here who are selling these little websites out the trunk of their cars. Some of the people, they throw up a web page and start taking your money. They can't, and then we have to go back and clean up behind them in many cases. They don't know how to get the website online. They can't connect the e-commerce. They can't put the security in place, the SSL certificate. So there's more to putting the website together. So what our brand has done, it has really created a flood of people coming to us who have gone to other companies to try to get their web presence and even their marketing, and realized that it wasn't as easy as they thought. But because our brand was there, we were able to catch them and bring them into the net. So anyway, I'm going to take this brand of coffee and go into a break. When I come back, I'm going to talk about networking. You surprised this story I'm going to tell you about networking. And you're going to be wondering, why in the heck haven't I been networking more in the past? But like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, it is never too late. It's never too late. Let's get out there and do it now. It's the Marketing Pulpit. We'll be right back after the break. Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and I'm here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. I got a story to tell you. I'm going to talk about networking because this is one thing I've liked about social media, though. It also helps you tell these stories. You can archive stories, you can repurpose, and you can build this chronology of how things happen the way they do. I remember back during the Great Recession. It's about 2008, 2009. 2007, the economy just really collapsed. And so my business somewhat dried up. So I went out and bought me a franchise broker business opportunity. I'm going to pivot and do something different. And so the part of when you bought this business opportunity, and the difference between a business opportunity and a franchise is that the business opportunity, you can put your own brand on it, whereas the franchise, you use a brand of the company, of the franchisor. So I bought a business opportunity through FranServe, and I became a franchise broker. I could sell other folks franchises. So I asked them, I said, look, how do we market this thing? How do I market my new business? They said, look, we don't know what else you're doing. We don't care what else you do, but you must join this company, BNI, Business Networking International, because they said networking is going to be one of your main ways to get clients. I'm saying to myself, man, networking is networking. I don't have time to be out there partying and drinking and hanging around and telling stories. I have work to do because I had this misconception of what networking was. I really thought networking was a waste of time. So anyway, I thought, all right, you guys, they should know because they're the ones selling the business. If I don't follow the instructions to the letter, I can't complain. So I went ahead and joined up for BNI, became a member. And I was surprised. First of all, I was surprised how organized it was. You had to get up at you had to be in there at 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, wait a minute now. Not much partying going on at 7:30 in the morning, so I can scratch this thing about people partying. And the other thing, you had to come every week. Oh, wait a minute now. Hold on, slow your roll there. Oh, I don't know about this every week thing. So from 7:30 to 9:30 7:30 to 9 o'clock every morning. Now, I'm sorry, once a week, we had to meet the same time. And there were these protocols, these steps. I'm like, this networking thing, I'm not sure about this, but I kind of like it. And then they kept telling me what networking was about. And I kept hearing this phrase about, it's not what people can do for you, it's what you can do for other people. You go into the networking process by assisting or giving what's they're receiving. Matter of fact, one of the quotes they used to use was "giver's gain." I said, wait a minute, I'm starting to like this. That sounds like me, because I've always considered myself this altruistic person, and the thought of going into networking with this misconception that I have to go out here and be selling people all the time. I all wrong. I thought that networking was all about selling. But when I found out networking was not about selling, it was more about giving, I said, now that's more aligned with my purpose. So I said, sign me up. So to make a long story short, so I joined this group, and I really started understanding what networking was. I started to really like it. Matter of fact, I liked it so much, I stuck with it, and eventually I became the president of the chapter here in Largo. And they gave me this nice plaque when I left, when I finally gave up the reign of presidency. But there's some things happened that really changed my business trajectory ever. First of all, I met my current landlord at a networking event. That's right, the BLE people I talk about all the time, we were in the same networking group. I'm like, wow. My accountant, Falashi Day, that's normally here the second Friday, but she's so busy now taking care of clients that she couldn't come today. I met her at this networking event at the same place. Radio One, where I do my radio show, I met them at a networking event. I remember out of Navy. They had we did a networking event over here at BLE. And so that to me was really just overwhelming. So much so I actually called the folks at Prince George's Community College and told them, so look, I know I do the course on social media, I do the course on marketing, I do the course on sales. I said, but this networking thing has had such an impact on me. I need to tell more people about it. And so, of course, we worked it out. So now I do a course at Prince George's Community College called Networking Works. Matter of fact, that's what I did last night. Because most people don't realize the impact that you can have by networking. There are some things you can do networking that you would never do. You can never do through traditional advertising. Just tell me this. When was the last time you were able to talk to the president of companies, your landlord, accounting firms, attorneys, government agencies? You sit in the same room with these people. They have the decision-making power in their hand, and you sitting there shoulder to shoulder with them. Networking is the only advertising medium that gives you that opportunity. Now, Bradley Thomas is a witness. He said he was in BNI for almost 5 years, and he's still getting business. And this is not an ad for BNI, but BNI just happened to be the vehicle, the company that actually introduced me to networking. And I still, like you said, like Bradley, I still get people calling me from the years that I was actually in BNI. The reason I left BNI had nothing to do with not getting clients. I met somebody who wanted me to work on their government contract as a subcontract through the Small Business Administration, and it had me flying over the country, and I couldn't make the meetings. I couldn't show up at 7:30 in the morning if I'm out in Wyoming, so I had to take a hiatus. And but that was the only reason I left, because it was still serving me very well. And so, but I kept saying to myself, man, more people need to know about this. And that's once again why I'm bringing it up today. Teaching that class last night reminded me I need to let people know again, particularly now during this pandemic. And I think one of the reasons that I hadn't pushed it so much is because the pandemic presented some challenges. But I was able to integrate into the class last night how actually during the pandemic, networking continues. We just do it virtually now. But once again, there is no other form of advertising that I know of. Now, if you have one, I'm all open here. My eyes and ears are open. That's going to put you in the same room, shoulder to shoulder, with these pivotal decision makers. Now, the other thing about networking is that I've always talked about advertising. There's two types of advertising. There's direct action advertising, and there's indirect action advertising. We call that communication advertising, nurturing, and so forth. I mean, just quickly, the difference. On a direct action advertising, I might take this cup here and say, look, I have this cup here. It's a nice ceramic. It's black. It's shiny. It holds my coffee. Go ahead to my website and buy one. You can get you a dozen of them for $20. Give them out to a friend. Go today. You got a special on them. Take advantage of it before the sale ends. That's called direct action advertising. Again, an example of indirect action advertising, I take this same cup. I'm doing a workshop tomorrow on the magic properties of ceramic cups. If you've always wondered how do you make these cups, what they're made out of, and how you can use them to make your life better, come to my workshop and I will show you all the values of this ceramic cup. Now, in that second instance, I did not say anything about buying a cup. I didn't say get one, 2 for $5. What I'm going to do is invite you into my funnel, educate you on the value, and then at some point when you need a cup, you're going to think about me. Well, networking falls under that indirect advertising. It's about building the relationship, building the credibility, showing your creds, nurturing, and so forth. And that was the one of those pivotal moments that I realized that I like this. This is indirect advertising, which I'm always talking to people about, because networking is not about selling. It's about building relationships. Now, let's talk about these relationships. You have to build relationships because there are certain parts of your business that you have to nurture in order to be successful. Now, this is a misconception that many small companies get. We are hung up on this. We went and took some workshop somewhere, and some fast talker told you how to go out here and sell, and you always got your pen out ready to take somebody's order. Because what you're doing, the mistake in following that is that you're focusing on only one stakeholder among the many that are necessary to achieve business success. I'm going to repeat that. Customer acquisition is one of the many aspects of business success. You have to acquire the other stakeholders as well. So let's say number one is clients and customers. You got to have those eventually, but you may not have to have them right away. If you're starting a business and you're in the introduction phase of the life cycle, you might not see a customer for 3 or 4 months. So if you're focusing only on customer acquisition in the introduction stage of the life cycle, you're wasting your effort. Okay? So you have to focus on these other stakeholders, such as vendors and suppliers. How are you going to sell hair if you don't have any hair to sell? Or you paying 5 times the amount that everybody else is paying? Because you didn't nurture the relationships to get in with the hair people, the suppliers. If you're a retail shop, you might be paying 5, 10 times what the company down the street because you didn't nurture those relationships. Employees, contractors, you need help, you need workers. I'm on a contract now. But they didn't find me by running an ad. They found me because of somebody that they knew through networking. Investors, funding. You need money. You need funds. It's not going to get from a traditional ad. When you're networking, you're sitting in the room with bankers, accountants, government agencies that can tell you how to get that money. You're in the room with community leaders, government agencies, educational institutions, volunteers. So you need all of these in order to succeed in business. But you're not going to get them through traditional advertising, but you can get them through networking. Man, let me tell you, when I figured that out, it was like I hit the lottery. It was that important to me. I had never looked back. And now that I have, once you start networking, you understand the importance of your network. Okay? Your network. Now I have a network that I generated through my networking. Now your network is supplemented by your traditional advertising, providing good service, the whole thing about lifetime value and customer acquisition. All that is enhanced through your network and your advertising. So some of the quick benefits of networking is, of course, those relationships. You get a chance to promote yourself. You build credibility. You look as an expert. You can find out what the competition is doing. You go to one of these networking events and you see your main competitor sitting across the table from you. And you're like, wow, man, I'm glad I'm here. He would have gotten all this business. So you need to get out there. But the main thing is you get to be in the room with the decision maker. I want you to sit here for a minute. You ran an ad, and I don't knock any advertising medium because it's all good to some extent. It's either branding you or getting you direct sales or nurturing or building your reputation and so forth. But much as I like Radio One, it's not probably going to be to give me the those relationships that I need. I get a lot of people calling. Don't get me wrong. Every time a show runs over Radio One, but I will use that advertisement to promote my networking events because they come to the networking event. Now I get to see them firsthand. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to you. I'm saying this tongue in cheek. You don't go to a networking event with your sales book. But I'm going to say you might leave it in the car. Because I remember on many occasions I'd be downstairs. I mean, the networking event were actually downstairs in the office where I am right now in my building. We had the first floor. We meet every Thursday at 7:30. I can't tell you how many times we're in the meeting. I never forget this attorney was sitting next to me. She was just visiting for the day. She wasn't even a member. And that's the other thing too, ladies and gentlemen. You can go to some of these events, these networking groups, and they give you like a trial. You can come a couple of times free. Man, take advantage of that. You can get business that day. Well, anyway, this young lady, she was there. She was an attorney, and she was just visiting the networking event. And I was trying to put a move on her or sell her. Like I said, I'm networking. I'm nurturing. I'm putting my best foot forward. Well, she just happened to be sitting next to me. And she said, I heard your little pitch. We do a pitch at every meeting. She said, I'd like to know more about your business because I'm just getting started. I'm trying to go out on my own. And I said, well, I don't normally do this, but after the class, after the event is over, we can go upstairs, we can talk, and I can tell you more about my company. Make a long story short, she wrote a check on the spot. I was like, whoa. So just because I'm telling you, that's not the goal, is to get a check or to take an order. That happens sometimes too, especially if you have a very compelling pitch and your product is in high demand at a particular time. So anyway, folks, I just wanted to share that with you today, that if you have not already, then find some networking opportunities, get yourself in front of people. And my rule is anytime 2 or more people get together, networking can happen. Some quick places that you can start networking tomorrow. You can go to meetup.com. and do a search on an area of interest. If you want to talk about vaccinations, you want to talk about law, you want to talk about talk about cooking at home, just go in there and type in a topic, and you can find yourself a group to go visit. Just say, look, this company is right around the corner. And right now, like I said, a lot of it's done virtually. And just quickly about virtual, when you do these virtual networks, networking, like I told my students the other night, is that you want to put your best foot forward. Get you some nice lights. You want to get you, if you have a junky house, get you a nice virtual background, or you want to make sure you don't have a lot of distractions, because you are putting your foot forward, a good foot forward. You're trying to make that best impression. Also, go ahead and put on yourself a nice top, be presentable, dress for success, at least from the waist up. It's amazing. And also, I had to tell this every time we talk about virtual. Remember, always act as if the mic is on and the camera is on. We've heard some horror stories on people making these wrong assumptions that they had turned off the mic or had turned off the camera. But that's another course for another day. Meetups, Eventbrite. Eventbrite, I found this to be very. Discovered this when I was doing my First Friday networking event. I did a First Friday event for about 7 years, and we had a big turnout. Man, we have up to 100 people in some cases. It just wore me out. That's why I stopped that too. I mean, sometimes you look. I got enough business now. Right now, I'm just feeding people every Friday. What's my goal here? So I had to cut back on that event, and I may start it back up virtually, because I met quite a few people. I mean, really some nice people at that networking event that I had called First Friday. But Eventbrite drove us a lot of people, because you can go into Eventbrite and find networking events that are happening around you. Look at your Chamber of Commerce, good place. Some of these industry organizations like the National Bar Association, the MBA Association, the Nurses Association, the Doctors Associations, all these different groups. They have most of them have some type of events or networking or something you can join. Go in and visit, check them out, do your pitch, and also get yourself a nice elevator pitch. We know what an elevator pitch is. That's about 5 to about 10 to 15 to 60 seconds, where you can make your case on who you are, and it's the purpose of the pitch, just like networking, is not to sell, but to make the connections and to get the start the relationship. And so you want to get that. Go in the mirror, practice, and be ready, because it's not just at networking events. Because I said networking happens anytime you get two people together. You can be in line at the 7-Eleven getting coffee. You could be at the elevator. You could be in the bathroom. I actually met somebody in the restroom. That sounds a little gross, but we weren't shaking hands or anything. This guy had been coming to stall. He had gone to networking events, and he wanted to talk more about my service. And we set up a meeting, and we he became a client. Also, the guy that sends me so much business right now, this guy named Frank down the hall from me. He's one day he's in my building, but one day we happened to stumble upon each other in the restroom. We had a quick little networking session. Then we set up what is called a one-in-one. A one-in-one, when you take it offline, you take it away from the networking event, and you do like a one-to-one to get to know each other. And that's one of the things that a lot of networking events offer. You make the relationship, but then you want to take it to another level, having a one-in-one meeting. So anyway, folks, I say out here network, find the groups, start making those relationships, and you'll be surprised the impact it's going to have on your business trajectory. I've been doing networking now, and like Mr. Brown said, he enjoyed First Friday, and Mr. Brown is he used to come to First Friday a lot, and man, we had some good times these First Fridays. Another thing I say about Mr. Brown, who I was talking earlier about at Prince George's Community College, where I teach a networking course, taught it last. Just making a comment that there were zero goose egg. There were no men in the entire class. I taught 2 classes this week. Taught a class on Monday, had about 10, 12 people. Class last night, about 13 or so people. Not one male showed up. It was all women. So you guys gotta help me figure this one out. What is going on? Is this something that's going on in society? Is it me? I hope the brothers don't just like me. I'm pretty sure that's it. Because if you look at the feed, most of the guys that are on the line right now, Bradley and Gerald and Richard, and about 50-50. And hey, Colleen, but she's also adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College. Glad to see you this morning, Colleen. Wondering if you're having that same experience. What's the demographic makeup of your class? Just curious. What's going on there? All right, folks. This is the Marketing Pulpit TV show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. What I'm going to do, I'm going to save this lecture on social media, putting social media to work for you for next week. And I'm going to give you a teaser, though. I taught this in class. Oh my goodness. Colleen says it's happening in her class, too. Colleen, say it ain't so. What we got to do, sister? We got to figure this one out. Because the brothers need this information, too. Whether you're a brother or whatever your persuasion, this information is not just for women. And I'm glad, I'm proud. Every time I see the sisters showing up in numbers, I'm like, right, we need this for Women's History Month. We need to build these strong sisters and support them. But the brothers need this help too. And so I may have to, me and Colleen, may have to put our heads together to figure out what's causing this dearth of interest among the males in these courses that are so vital to business success. The information I share with you today about networking, this is the type of information I'm sharing through these courses through the college. Go to Prince George's College, go to pgcc.edu and look through the course catalog. You can type on the type of courses that you want to search for. If it's networking, if it's marketing, like Colleen talks about finances and funding, go there and get this information. I mean, you can get a lot of it here on the Marketing Pulpit show, but there are courses that I don't teach. I'm not the finance person. You can get that from Colleen at Prince George's Community College, even though she's been on the show too, and I'm looking forward to having you back, Colleen, as well. So anyway, maybe you can help me figure this out. Maybe this will be one of my causes going forward. We got to get more engagement so that we won't leave anybody behind, because everybody needs this information. Everybody, we want this. In order for our community to prosper, we need everyone. We need the men, we need the women, we need the children, we need the adults, we need the retirees, we need the religious institutions, we need social organizations, the nonprofits. This is an all hands on deck effort as we seek to build strong businesses in our community, as we seek to put people to work. And Brother Brown said he's had a class with Colleen too. Mr. Brown, you are killing the stereotype. There's hope for us yet. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Brother Brown. I was starting to get a little depressed over here. So Brother Brown has defied he shot down my whole stereotype of the brothers not showing up for these classes. He's taking my class and Colleen's class. And I know some other guys out here too that have taken my class. Many of them have become clients. So thank you again for all of you. And thank you for tuning in to the Marketing Pulpit TV show. We've come to the end of the show. I am Robert Gatewood. Go to marketingpulpit.com. You can listen to the show after it's over. You can also share it. And if you know anyone who has business and they're trying to figure out how to get customers, and whether they have a lot of money or if they're short on money, they may be selling themselves short from one of the greatest tools they have, which is themselves. Tell them to dust themselves off, put on a nice shirt and jacket, get out here and start networking. Get themselves a nice pitch and go back and listen to this broadcast. It is chock full of information. And listen to some of these other shows that we've done and share them. Don't be selfish. Don't keep this information to yourself. And also go to Prince George's Community College, pgcc.edu, and sign up for these classes. Okay? I think the class last night was like $35, $40 for 3 hours of knowledge with me. I think I can get it free here, right? But there's nothing like being in that classroom setting where you can enter Actually, I even told my students last night to network. Man, they had that chat area full up with web addresses and email addresses and Facebook handles because I said, put 2 or more people together and network happens, and they actually did it. And some of them said they want to come and talk to me later on about helping them with their company. I said, look, I'm not here to sell my services now, but I'm always happy to help somebody who needs help. That's going to wrap up the show for today. Go to marketingpulpit.com. Also, my company is Gatewood Marketing and Web. Now, last month I said I wasn't taking any more clients. Now, I'm not going to say that this month, but what I am going to say, we do have a slight waiting list. I have this attorney, these 2 attorneys who contacted me last month for a project they're trying to put online. And I told them that I couldn't help them last month. And they said, well, we'll wait. Man, I'm talking about somebody having a big head after that. I'm like, whoa, excuse me. Like, okay. So I'm going to reach out to them, get them on the agreement and start working with them. So it's worth the wait. Okay. Working with a company that's proven, that's established, that's been around 25 plus years, long track record of successful clients, people like Joe Madison, Neely Fuller, MRS Tax and All, Bradley Thomas, Gerald Brown and Eternity Plumbing. I mean, these folks, they went ahead and took the plunge. Some of them took their time. Tell everybody to take the time. Don't rush over to Gatewood. Go out there and do your research. You're gonna find out. That's the real deal. So anyway, we'll be glad to talk. You can actually set up a free Zoom call also. Go to gatewoodmarketing.com. We have a button up there on the homepage. Give you a free Zoom information, find out more about what you're trying to do, how you're trying to grow this company. I want to thank everybody who's become a client over the past few years. And as I always say, our goal is to exceed your expectations. And we've done that and going to continue to do it. On that note, we're gonna tune out of here for now. This is the Pulpit Radio and TV show. And we're back next week at the same time. As always, I like to end every show by saying, if you want to be successful, you have to do these 3 things. Mr. Brown, help me out here. You got to do these 3 things. Do the right thing. Do it at the right time. And you must do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.